Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into a truly powerful documentary short. It's this beautifully captured story about a bustling train station, a tiny, unassuming bookstall, and honestly, the enduring magic of physical storytelling. Let's step right onto the platform. So, here's a question for you. In an age of smartphones, what's the actual value of a single printed book? I mean, it's something we probably don't ask ourselves nearly enough, right? We're constantly surrounded by digital convenience, endless scrolling, instant gratification. But today, we're going to look closely at a story that completely strips all of that away. It really forces us to confront this central theme of digital versus analog connection, and honestly, what we might be losing in that transition. Section 1. The Station Master. A Life Among Pages. 38. Just think about that number for a second. That is the number of years that Salman, a 64-year-old bookseller, has spent running his tiny stall. I mean, imagine that level of absolute dedication. For nearly 4 decades, while literally hundreds of thousands of passengers have just rushed past his little corner of the world, he's been this constant, unwavering presence. He's quietly serving as the station's resident guardian of stories. And the documentary beautifully captures Salman's daily rhythm. Way before the sun even thinks about coming up, the very first thing he does is unlock that stall. And as that early morning light starts to creep in, he doesn't just, toss things onto shelves. No, he carefully, meticulously places each newspaper, each novel, and each magazine in its exact right spot. And he stays there, greeting familiar faces with this warm smile all the way until late at night when the very last train disappears. It's a deeply intentional, almost sensory daily ritual. Section 2. The Digital Era Shift, Changing Tides. Now, Salman remembers the past vividly. He actually recalls a time when travelers would spend hours, literally hours, just browsing his shelves, eagerly searching for the perfect story to take with them on a long journey. But, the present reality is pretty harsh. Times have absolutely changed. Those printed pages, they've largely been replaced by smartphones and digital entertainment. And the result of that is exactly what you'd expect. Fewer and fewer people actually stopping to buy books. The contrast is incredibly stark. And frankly, on some days, he barely sells a handful of newspapers. Yet despite this massive decline in sales, and despite being totally overwhelmed by the tide of digital media, Salman absolutely refuses to close the stall. So when the financial logic is completely gone, what anchors him to this platform day after day? Well, that's exactly the question that drives the rest of this amazing explainer. Section 3. Generations of Readers, The Ripple Effect. See, the documentary captures these incredible friendships that Salman has painstakingly built over decades. In a place that is literally defined by people rushing by, some passengers intentionally stop just because they know him by name. But honestly, the most moving detail, it's the children. Salman vividly remembers kids who used to buy comic books from him years and years ago. And today, those exact same children are returning to the train station as adults, bringing their own families just to meet him. It goes to show that his real value isn't his inventory, it's his community. Section 4. A Life-Changing Recommendation, The Young Girl's Transformation. Okay, so this is where it gets really incredible. It starts on a quiet, rainy afternoon. A young girl is waiting for her train, and she just happens to notice this old novel sitting on the shelf. Curiosity strikes, right? So she asks Salman for a recommendation. Salman just gives this knowing smile, reaches back, and hands her a very specific book, a book that actually changed his own life when he was exactly her age. Well, months later, that same girl returns to the stall. She excitedly tells Salman that reading the book he gave her completely inspired her, and she now dreams of becoming a writer. Just think about that. A single interaction, one physical book, shifted her entire trajectory in life. Hearing that young girl's words, Salman realizes something absolutely vital about his purpose. Even in a rapidly changing world completely dominated by screens, stories, these quiet, physical stories handed directly from one person to another, they still hold the absolute power to transform lives. Section 5. Handing Out Dreams, the True Commodity. As the last train of the night finally disappears into the darkness, Salman slowly closes up his stall. And he softly delivers this incredibly poignant line. He says, "People think I sell books, but I have spent my life handing out dreams." I mean, wow. It perfectly encapsulates his legacy, doesn't it? He isn't just some merchant of paper. He's a facilitator of inspiration. So, I want to leave you with a final thought today. Who handed you the story that changed your life? Because whether it was a teacher, a parent, or even a station master named Salman, someone likely passed a dream into your hands at some point. Think about that person today and really consider, whose hands can you place a dream into next?